Hi guys, I'm back today with part 2 of my bookshelf tour, or not bookshelf tour, book cart tour. A lot of you guys, when I asked after the first part of the tour, if you would want more talking or less talking, a lot of you who did reply said that you wanted more talking. So thank you, I appreciate that, I guess. Thanks. So I will be chatting more about the books in this video than just tapping and all that stuff on them. We'll see how this goes because some of these I've owned for quite some time, so my memory on them will be vague at best occasionally, so bear with me for that. And again, I'm sorry if you hear any cars passing. I'm right by a road. It's not always busy, but tends to be busy whenever I film for some reason. So yeah, I'll just stop yapping and get into it. So this is the second row of my TBR cart, and this cart is full of books that I want to get to relatively soon. There's a lot of them, so relatively is very relative. But again, let's quit yapping and let's get to the books. So the first book I have on the second shelf of my TBR cart is the paperback of In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. It says international bestseller. I believe this story also won Book of the Year in the UK, I think. Something like that. I actually have the US hardcover I bought when it first came out. I just saw this paperback copy they came out with and I loved it equally as much as the original hardcover, which I'll hopefully insert here. So I do have 2 copies of this book. It's just one of those books that I think I'm really gonna like. It's set during World War I. We follow 2 young men who are, drafted to the war, and I believe we just follow their relationship from when they know each other, from boarding school to when they both have to face the horrors of war. And I think it's a love story, so I think it's queer. I'm very scared that it's going to hurt me bad because, it's a queer relationship dynamic set in the backdrop of World War I. What chances are there really for happiness? But I'm holding out hope because that's who I am. Anyways, yeah, I've just heard this is a really good book. I'm kind of scared to read it because, again, I tend to do this with books I'm really excited for. I just put them off because I'm scared to get to them and I don't want them to be over with. So I do the opposite and deny myself the experience of reading it. I don't know. But yeah, this is a paperback. I'm not sure if I'll read the hardcover or the paperback, but yeah, we'll see. I'm very excited for this book. The next book is Fallen Thorns by Harvey Oliver Baxter. Sorry, the typeface kind of tripped me up there. This is obviously a spooky book. It's a horror. I believe this is the Owl Crate. No, it's the Fox and Wit exclusive edition. I really love this cover. I think it's cool. I don't even know what the original cover looks like. Yeah, I think this is a queer horror book. I really wanted to read it for spooky season, but I'm filming this on the first day of November, so I have obviously failed. But I do hope to get to it maybe this year. Future me and y'all will look back at me and be like, she had her head up in the clouds, and you would be right. But yeah, I love this kind of spooky, kind of Dracula-esque cover. Oh, and there's in-paper art too. So yeah, really excited to get to this one. The next one is kind of a shift. This is a young adult fantasy that came out like 2019, 2021, sometime around then. Let's see. 2020, wow. Came out in 2020, that's rough. If y'all were readers back then, you know it was a rough time for publishing and authors. I mean, not really like in terms of books being read because everyone was in lockdown, but like if you had a book coming out that year, like you couldn't go to events, you know, that kind of stuff. I feel like that was tough. But yeah, this is Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy. This is the, I think, Fairy Loot edition. Yep, Fairy Loot edition. So it's signed and has a different colored pages. I think it's green. You can see that. But yeah, Catherine Purdy had written a previous young adult fantasy. It was called like The Glass something, or like The Queen something. I'll try to include it if I can remember it. I was interested in reading it, but I just never got to it because there were too many books and not enough time. But this one is a foresty fantasy, and you know I'm a sucker for those, so I did pick this one up. I don't really know what it's about. I know there's magic. It's a young adult fantasy, some kind of romance going on. Really, I'm a sucker for forest fantasy, so like you give me forest vibes, and you don't really need to say much else. It's blurbed by Stephanie Garber, so it's also pretty promising. Mary E. Pearson, Jody Meadows, Evelyn Skye. So yeah, I think this was like before they did a lot of like character art in pages. Yeah, 2020. So yeah, excited to get to this one at some point. I put this on my TBR because like it's a young adult fantasy, and I'm trying to read all of those that I own as quickly as possible because like I don't want to age out too quickly of them, I guess. Yeah, so that's the first book, and then you will not be surprised to see that I also have the second book. I believe this is a duology, so I think this is the last one, and it's called Bone Crier's Dawn. Two beautiful girlies here. I don't know if it's like a standalone, like what am I trying to, what are those called? You know what I'm trying to say. Like standalones that are in a series and you follow different characters. There's definitely a term for that, and it's just completely evading me. Yeah, this is the second book. It has silver, gray, sprayed edges, also really pretty. I love the colorways of these two books. Like these two are very me sort of aesthetic, so I am looking forward to reading them. The next book I have to show you is Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark. I almost said Claire, but it's Clark. Sophie Clark. This is the Waterstones edition, I believe. I think this came out either last year or earlier this year. I can't really remember. I think it's the first book in a series, but it might be a standalone. The reason I have this on my cart is because, I don't know, the story just sounds really interesting. So like, I really want to read it, and I kind of want to capitalize on that eagerness to read it. It's a war between demons and exorcists. Yes, I think it's kind of like an enemies, lovers type scenario. And I was just interested. I want to read it. It has these sprayed edges, which are really pretty. I don't know if there's anything on the in pages. Oh, just I think a map. Really pretty. So yeah, this is Cruel is the Light. Excited. The next book is The Radiant King by David Dalglish. Sorry, David Dalglish. My mouth does not want to say that for some reason. This is an epic fantasy. This I think this is like a romantic fantasy. This is high fantasy. And it's the first book. It says blood is thicker than water. 6 immortal siblings, 5 sworn to peace, and 1 who demands a throne. So yeah, this just looked really good. It was one I had on my TBR for a while, so when I saw it was out, I was like, time to pick it up. It's also one of those really big, chunky paperbacks, which I think it's kind of divisive if you like those or not. I love a big paperback. I think it's fun, and I like that they're usually floppy. I also really love this art style. Like, this is the kind of fantasy cover art that I really like. Like, give me more of this kind of cover art for fantasy books, please. I beg of you. It's like, it's not cartoon, it's not too real, just like pretty, I guess. Has a little bit of like smudge here from like, so I took this book on my giant cross-country move, so some of them got a little dusty, which I normally do not like. I'm kind of pristine with my books, but I can probably erase that with an eraser, or just like, you know, get over it. But yeah, really excited for this one. The next book is one I really wish I had read this month. Again, something I missed the timeline on. It's Boys with Sharp Teeth by Jenny Howell. Again, this is a spooky, I think it's young adult. It came out earlier this year. This is the Owl Crate edition. I don't know if it's adult or young adult. I think young adult because one of the major like comp titles for this book is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, which if you followed my channel, you'll know that's my second favorite series of all time. So I saw that and I was like, we'll see. You'd think maybe that I would be like excited when I see a comp title for my favorite series, but it really makes me like suspicious. I'm like, oh really? You're bold enough to declare that you can be compared to this series, The Raven Cycle, which is like one of my pedestal series of all time. Like, I feel like it's just a recipe for me to be disappointed. One of the books that had that was, what was that book called? Not Hazelthorn, it was, I'll put the book up here, but like, I liked it. I gave it like 3 stars, but I feel like I would have liked it more if I didn't know that the author was a Raven Cycle fan. Like, it kind of took away, because I could see in the writing where they were like trying to be like the Raven Cycle, and it just wasn't as, it was fine, but it wasn't as good. So it's like you eat like a 5-star meal, like say you have some really decadent mac and cheese or something, and then you have like the crummiest, most like disgusting mac and cheese, and like for maybe someone who's never had mac and cheese, they eat that and they're like, oh, this is pretty good, but you're like, you've had the decadent mac and cheese, so you know what it could be. Hopefully that made sense. But I've had that issue a few times in the past. There's another book that I'll post here that I didn't really like even more than the other one, because it was so obviously trying to be the Raven Cycle and trying to emulate like that writing style and feel, and it just landed so flat for me. I have high standards if you're gonna compare yourself to the Raven Cycle. So I hope I do like this book. I'm not going in with a negative mindset. I do really hope I like it. I just hope it doesn't try too hard, and I do hope it gives me the same feeling, because I would love that. It also has sprayed edges, which is really cool. It says, "Death is the easiest thing in the world." Yeah, here's some art. We'll see. I do really hope that I like it. The next book I have here is in the same vein, sort of, in terms of genre. It's Your Blood, My Bones by Kelly Andrew. This is another queer horror book. You seeing a trend? I was really prepared to read these in October, and then I just, like, didn't. I actually have 2 copies of this book. I have I think it's L Crate edition, and then I have this edition because I really loved the original cover so much that I was like, I need them both. But yeah, this is another queer young adult horror. Sorry for the cars passing by. By Kelly Andrew. Cassandra Clare blurbed another book by this author, so that does have me excited. So I'm excited to read this one too. I just, missed the spooky window, so. Okay, and the next book, in a shocking turn of events, is another horror. You can see I was really trying to be prepared. This is Summer Suns by Lee Mandelow. This is an adult horror, and it's also queer. I've read 2 other books, one other book by Lee Mandelow, and it was okay, but I've heard a lot of good things about this one. This was, I think, their debut, maybe? Don't quote me on that, but I've heard a lot of good things, so I am really excited for this. Again, you'll see the forest fantasy bleeding out into my choices for TBR. Oh yeah, it's like a southern horror. As someone who's lived most of my life in the southern regions, a perfect background for horror. And people love this book. I've seen quotes. I've seen some fan art. I try not to look because I don't want spoilers. I am excited. I just haven't picked it up yet. Okay, shifting gears genre-wise, I have The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. This is one of those hardcovers that don't have a dust jacket, which I know a lot of people like. For some reason, a lot of people don't like dust jackets, which was a total surprise to me. I had never heard of that until I started, watching booktube and like bookish content online. I have never minded dust jackets. They have never bothered me. And then I was even more surprised when I found out that people often take their dust jackets off to read. Like, you just read like the bare book. And I have never done that ever in my life. It never occurred to me to take off the dust jacket. It seemed like taking apart an essential part of the book. Not that I judge. It makes sense, you don't want it bothering you, especially if you're like tactile. Like, I can see that. But it's never bothered me, so I've never done that. But I know that's why a lot of people like hardcovers without dust jackets. I've heard multiple people say like, oh, I just wish they put the dust jacket art on the cover so I didn't have to have a dust jacket. And I guess publishing is listening a little bit, because here's this book, and I've seen some others too. I don't really have a preference. I've never paid much mind to the dust jacket during my reading experience. In fact, sometimes I use the dust jacket like as a bookmark if I'm not that far in. But to each their own. I respect your opinion. But yeah, this is, I believe, a romantasy or a romantic fantasy. There's, I think, phoenixes. Yeah, it's like there's like a war backdrop. It's like I think it's like a captee kind of situation, which I think your mileage may vary on if you like that kind of thing or not. I sometimes do. It's all about execution. Our main girl, Rhea, is a halfling. So I'm interested. I'm curious. I've heard good things about it. So, and this was on my TBR from the start of the year. So hopefully I like it. So there's that book. The next book is one I've had forever, over a decade. No, I think exactly a decade at this point. So I need to read it. Actually, you know what? Maybe not a decade. No, I take it back. 2018. Around 2017, 2018. So not that long. But it is called Zulika by Guzel Yakina. This is the winner of the English Pen Award. It was shortlisted for the Russian Booker Prize, winner of the Russia Big Book Award, and winner of the Vasnaya Polyana Award. Hopefully I said those right. It's a translated book, which I'm always interested in reading translated books. I've heard good things about this one, so I bought it years ago, years and years. And I still haven't read it. It's a really beautiful cover. I love like a wintry book as well. Wintry forest. A sweeping, multi-award winning novel set in the aftermath of the Russian Revolution as gangs of marauding soldiers terrorize and plunder the countryside. So yeah, it's also historical. I love historical books. Honestly, a crime that I've not gotten to this yet. I do feel like if I ever did like a tag where it's like, find a book on your shelf that starts with the letter Z, this one would come in clutch. Because honestly, I don't think I have any other books that start with a Z. I love like old booktube where like there's a lot of tags going around. I miss that era. It was so fun to watch. I love a tag. So like, call me old school, but they were fun. They were fun to watch. Let's see, how many pages does this book have? 484. Not too bad. Okay, there's that one. Next we have a duology. Well, actually, I think it's a trilogy. I just don't own the third book. I want the third book, but they never had it in store. They had the other two in store. So I guess I'll have to order that one online, but I've just been putting it off. Anyways, this is Ferryman by Claire McFall. This is young adult. I believe it has like Irish influences on it, like Irish mythology. I don't know why I think that. Again, it's been so long since I've like looked at this novel. Oh, won the Scottish Children's Book Award. I'm so sorry, Scottish people. This is yours. I'm sorry. So yeah, it has some like Scottish influence in it, but it's about this girl who I think dies or almost dies, and he's like the ferryman who, like, you know, you pay to row you across the river Styx. You know, that sort of myth. So maybe there's some Greek mythology in here too. I don't know if those intersect or not. Yeah, again, it's been a while since I looked at this book. I need to read it. That's why it's on my TBR. But yeah, it's just about her and the ferryman. I think he was once alive, but then he like now he's trapped being the ferryman. It says, beloved by millions around the world, this is a timeless story of finding the person you belong with when you've lost everything else. So yeah, I'm interested. I want to read it, and it's not even that long, so. So yeah, that's the first book, and then the second book is Trespassers. So this one's also not that long, so I thought I could read these fairly quickly, and hopefully I'll really enjoy them. I can't remember what the third one's called. It's definitely out by now. I need to order it. Well, you know what? Maybe I should read these two first, you know. Hold me accountable. I should read these two first before I order it. But I always like want to support an author. Like, I feel like I read somewhere that first books, unless they're like, you know, smash hits, like first books have your, you know, most sales, and then like if it doesn't really catch on, like it gets harder to sell the next books in the series. So like I always have this like desire to buy all the series so that I can support the author. That's why I never feel like too bad over purchasing on books, because I'm like, it's not like I'm supporting a terrible cause. I'm supporting an author, you know, an artist who's trying to, you know, get their stories out there. So it's not like it's a terrible thing. But yeah, I should probably read these two first before I get the third book. The last book on this second shelf is a chunk. It's one I've also had for a long time. There's a trend here. It's Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. The third and final book, I think, is about to come out, and I own the first two. These are the Illumicrate editions, which are very, very pretty. I love vampire books. I love vampire media, and of all sorts, mostly serious and like dark. So I think I'm gonna like this, from what I know. I've never actually read a full J. Kristoff book, so we'll see if I like his writing. But yeah, this is a chunk for sure. I know he's known for like gutting you with his books, so we'll see how that goes. But I do want to get to this so I can finally read the second one and the third one. Yeah, but that is the last book for this second shelf. I'm running out of space, so I might wrap up here. I will post the third part sometime soon. I also have to update you on what I've been reading, and I have a little bit of a book haul in the process, so there should be a video about that at some point once I've, you know, gathered enough and, you know, have an appropriate amount for a haul. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with you for a new video soon.